Welcome back to Classic Conversation. As always, I'm Fresh, and that is Vic, and this is Cortez, representing Real English.
Check me out.
Yeah, absolutely. We just got finished talking about the corporate grind versus the creative grind, you know, the entrepreneurship versus slave ship, and then a little bit of both if you can get lucky. I think we all have our thing that we do, you know, aspire to do, things that we're working on or embarking on with our ambitions. We got artists, we got managers and producers, podcastists, or whatever the term would be. So with that said, especially on music, there's two sides of it. You know, people usually just see the side where the Instagram personalities, the music videos, you know, listen to the mixtape or the new record, talk about it, you know, and see what was really done on one side of the spectrum, not knowing that there's a whole other side of the spectrum, you know, that actually turns out to be the money maker. It's the fame doesn't pay the bills, it's the paperwork, it's the publishing, it's the sales, and those things that lead up to that. Unfortunately, a lot of guys don't know that. A lot of people don't even care, and fame gets you pussy, and that's as far as niggas really give a fuck. They don't have to spend money on pussy, they ain't gotta buy a new whip or all these things, so they go straight to the pussy and forget the protocol, you know. And you got a lot of niggas that's rich and pussy, but ain't got a dollar in their pocket because they ain't got their paperwork straight, and they don't even know nothing about it. They sitting up on Instagram with the fame and the likes and the numbers. So since we got a manager sitting here, but you don't know what movie that's from.
Is that from some 1970s?
Nah, nigga, it's from a movie that came out a couple years ago, fool.
What's it from?
Couples Retreat, where my nigga Faison Love was dating the young chick who worked at the
I ain't never seen
at the mall. And he said this is Tootie, and she's a manager at the Foot Locker.
Can't laugh at it because I ain't never seen it.
Because you ain't seen it. It's all good, though, bro.
No.
He said it's funny, so he co-signed me.
Right, that nigga worked at Finish Line too, huh? That's why he think it's funny.
Hey, bro, don't look down on the shoe discounts, bro. We
Oh,
utilize.
you think I'm looking down on it?
Bro, we utilize the shoe discounts.
Oh, shit, I'm happy to
Portland.
a job.
And we going back.
Facts.
Portland.
But yeah, about
the music, the fame versus the paperwork.
Yeah, like
as a manager, like, you know, knowing that you got artists that you got to take care of, man. Right. How do you have that conversation where it's like, hey, bro, fuck the fame shit, first get your paperwork right?
Well, first and foremost, when you get in the music game, like, if you do it for money, just strictly money, you're going to lose. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to definitely get lost in the sauce, and you're not really going to get nowhere. But with me, like, even with Jay, like, me and Jay have a long-standing relationship from high school, playing football, multiple things. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to it, the conversation wasn't really that hard because we would have never did business if our ideals weren't similar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think that my personality per se really mixes with somebody that's with the get rich quick or with the overnight success, because I don't have no problem with the slow grind. You know, like, I'm not really in it for the bitches. I'm not really in it for trying to get super rich, because really what I want to make money for is to be able to increase my budget and my vision. Like, that's what I want bread for, is for access, is to create, you know, longevity as far as, what's the word I'm trying to use? Generational wealth. Like, just trying to create generational wealth. I'm trying to do those type of things.
So you don't want that Porsche? Like, bro said he want the Porsche.
I'm not really, like, I got a two-door whip right now. I got a Camaro, which is not close to a Porsche, but I mean, I can say, like, I'm over a two-door car.
It's clean.
Yeah, my shit's straight. You feel me? It's all right.
Okay.
Keep it clean. But at the end of the day, I'll probably buy more old schools than I would new whips, for real. But that's just me, though. So just going back to all of it, to make a long story short, I just feel like anybody that I really do business with, we have the same type of morals, same type of values, and that's how we're going to be able to move forward. Because if not, I'm not the nigga that want to go to the club every week, like all that type of shit. I be trying to shade that.
Well, shit, look, somebody that is also rapped in in a different social status. Once upon a time, we had the same conversations back then where it was like, are you doing it for the love or for the money? That's that exhibit shit. What was it, paparazzi?
Right.
Where the whole conversation was, nigga, are you just doing it just for the money? Or do you love love hip hop? Do you love the art form, right?
Right.
And we see where that kind of took off. You got certain people that went this way, called them backpack rappers, certain people that went this way, Main Street rappers, right? But that was a different day and age because that was prior to, like, let's say, social media and the fact that you could get rich off of just a personality, where you get now people who aren't even talented, but they can draw in a number of people, right? Being that you rapped in an era where it was similar conversations, but the lack of social media made it kind of a more of a dire situation, because at this point it's really your bread and butter whether or not you decide to go left or right.
Well, I didn't never, I didn't really make no bread like that when I was rapping, man. And for me, it was just simply off the love, bro, and me wanting to be better than whoever said they did it. Like,
Right.
You feel me? Rap has changed a lot. And what I would tell an artist or whoever in the game today, as far as like keeping your paperwork straight, it's just basically about, I guess, the ownership and owning your masters, and that way you can do whatever you want to do, with your product. You know what I mean? Nobody else can control your shit. For me, I never got to a level of paperwork, man. I was just doing what every artist is probably doing today, which is probably performing at the Key Club, or what was the other shit? My
Viper Room,
like
Club,
all that stuff. You know what I mean? So that was it for me. So just hip hop, period. Like, if you're not doing it for the love, I don't really think you're gonna be. If you ain't doing it for the love, you're probably gonna be like a Young Thug or. And this is just my opinion. These new niggas is garbage. I mean, and that's all they really winning off of right now is the caricatures. And I said that right, motherfuckers. Caricatures. But man, these motherfuckers ain't got no bars, bro. So if a motherfucker's worth 10 million and I don't know about my paperwork and I hand you 2 million, you finna be happy with that 2 million, not knowing you missing 7.5 or 6 point, you know what I mean? You gotta pay somebody something. But what I like about what my man said over here is him and his artists. What's your artist name?
Jay Ward.
Jay Ward, for sure. I think I heard some dude dope, Jay Ward dope. What I like about what they said, man, is they have a relationship, and when I heard them talking about it, I could just only think of when I was growing up, certain rappers or groups that were in the game that did not have their paperwork straight. A lot of groups that started off as duos broke apart, then faded away, except for Outkast. And I think Outkast survived through the game the way that they did is because they had a core relationship. You feel what I'm saying? And they probably looked at it as probably like, man, let's just get this bread and support our family. Like, ain't none of that rah between us. You know what I mean? So whatever paperwork came their way, they both looked at it or whatever. So, I mean, I ain't really got much to say because I ain't never made it that far, but just have you an entertainment lawyer on hand and, man, review everything that come across y'all. If you like it, sign it. You don't, renegotiate.
Yeah. I think that's what it comes down to. It definitely comes down to the fact of being diligent, not Ice Cube was probably the example, the greatest example of that, where Jerry Heller handed him a $50,000 check and said, nigga, just take it, and he knew he was owed more money. And at this point, nigga broke, on tour with the bitches, and nigga, the biggest thing in hip hop, biggest thing in pop culture at the time, even white kids going to the, all the, bad promotion, good promotion, it's all there. So at this point in time, he on top of the world, and you give him $50,000 check and say, nigga, be happy, and he know he's owed more.
You gotta come in with the bat.
And so he turned that shit down. He turned
money, Jerry.
He turned that shit down, Jerry Heller, and made the better choice, because obviously later Dre, DLC had to leave because they found, they knew that Jerry was doing foul business. They wasn't getting paid what they was owed. Plus they had terrible deals on top of that. So Ice Cube, having the money in front of him, turned it down. No different than Master P. when he went to, sit down with Jimmy Iovine at Interscope at the time.
You know what, man?
And they
just
offered
because
him a
you said
meal.
his name, and I didn't mean to cut
No,
you
it's
off.
all good.
Sincerely apologize, but Master P is sincerely somebody that does not get the credit that he deserves, man. It just seems a lot of shit just watered down, bro. A lot of things just watered down. But when you said Master P's name, I just, had to think, and I forgot what I was thinking about a couple of days ago, but it was something I read. They were saying the same thing, like this man just doesn't get the credit that he's owed. But if you show too many motherfuckers how to rape the game, like, you know what I mean, you become an enemy of that game.
Right.
So Master P is one that'll teach, bro, but it seems like if you're the type of, person that can help something grow, let me leave it like that because I just had all kind of thoughts. But, help some folks grow and kind of show that they don't need a middleman or something like that. You become an enemy of whoever's losing money. I mean, I don't want to say I get that to where I'm justifying it, but I understand that that's how it's going to go.
Survival, right.
Right. So, you know what I mean, man? Just, be a good artist, bro. Just watch your money in your paperwork, bro. That's all you got to do. And then, like we were saying a segment back or so, that internet is powerful right now. Sometimes you don't even need to go through some of the hurdles that, we had to go through back then. You know what I mean? I went to some sit-downs with some other, people that were kind of, well, I ain't gonna say kind of, that were better than me and did have eyes looking at them like that. So, I know how the sit-down goes and this and that, bro. And I ain't gonna even mention this dude's name, but it was one dude who was in jail now. But one dude sitting behind the desk, bro, and like that negotiating process, bro, this and I was young at this time, bro. It's just like some shit I couldn't believe, bro. Number one, that I was sitting there, but number two, like in my head before I sat at the table, I'm thinking there's some friendly, people in suits, this and that, but it turned into a different game, bro. It's levels to this shit. It turned into a different game once you, meet the motherfuckers that's running this rap game, and then you'll probably understand a little more about why you need to watch out for your paperwork and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, bro, if you dope, you're gonna catch, like, you know what I mean, and set your own platform up. You got everything you need, you know what I mean, and your manager should be out there, finding places for you to perform, playing your music, and saying, hey, we charge this much, if that's what it is, you know what I mean.
Which is like knowing the worth. That's what both Ice Cube and Master P knew that they was worth. Even Master P said, if Jimmy Iovine willing to pay me $1 million and still know that he can make profit off of that, then how much is he really worth? And he held out, and obviously now that dude is worth, at the pinnacle, he was over 100 million strong, no limit with all kind of artists. And from what I've heard, he didn't give none of them bad deals. They had decent deals, maybe not the greatest, but they didn't have shyster deals. He gave everybody their platform. Everybody had an album or two. They had their moment to shine. And, he, like Jay-Z said, he made all his homies rich. Everybody came out of No Limit rich.
Let me, exactly. And probably still get residuals or whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
But let me ask you a question, man. And let's take it a notch higher than, an MC or artist owning their masters. I've seen hip hop from day one to right now. I don't give a fuck. 42. Hey, look though, the point that I'm trying to make is that corporate world thing and all these other, things that are in the mixture. We gave hip hop away.
Absolutely.
Oh, you already know where I was finna go with it, right? So, ownership. We talking all this shit about the artists and ownership. Let's go ahead and bump it up a little bit. What about us as a culture? And ownership. Yeah. And I'm gonna leave that alone because our segment ain't about that.
But I mean, fuck it. But that goes back to that goes back to habits. Like we've always done that. We did that with jazz. We did that with rock and roll. Fucking Elvis. I mean, keep in mind, part of it is that they take it, but we don't fight for it.
That part. I mean, it's really nothing we can do, bro. Whose game are we playing?
Well, here's the thing. I feel like the same way Cap put his dollars on the line.
Facts.
the same thing. If that was the case, the artists who were saying, okay, well, shit, we're continuing to give our culture away for you to whitewash it. We not gonna give you our culture no more. That's what Prince did. Prince said, fuck it. All right, then cool. You gonna keep Prince? I'm the artist formerly known as. And, okay, there's ways around it where you can continue and give them the name, come out with a different, you can say, I'm no longer going to give you the culture, which you're going to take then and change the face of it. It's the 5 Heartbeat shit. Remember
Exactly.
when they came in, their cover was some white boys, and dude said, I ain't never seen no white boys with some niggas on their cover. You feel what I'm saying? How come we the only ones crossing over?
I mean, yeah, bro, like crazy shit. And what's man? I cannot think of this young man's name right now, but the artist that's out right now, man, kind of has the hip hop country song.
Lil Nas X.
It's Lil Nas X. It went over in the country, then the motherfuckers got mad, took him out of the country, but the song's so good they had to put it back. Like, I mean, it's
deep, like you said, bro. It's deep, but as a culture, we don't have no sense of ownership. We give our culture away for others to make millions off of it. So that I think like Master P knew the value of what he was selling. We don't know the value of it. We think that the pennies that they give us suffices, or we just under that spell where shit, give us the platform, make us famous, and we'll sell it all.
Yeah, exactly. And they'll call that in the corporate world, what's that? Stepping over dollars for quarters, or stepping over dollars for coins, however you want to phrase it or whatever. But man, I lost my train of thought right there.
But then it kind of goes back to the corporate versus the creative. Like, at least in this aspect of music, it seems like the corporate versus the creative. The corporate is the thing that stamps out the creativity.
Right.
And they guide it, bro. And just, for any, young artist that might see this, the reason why I push lyrics so hard, bro, is when we were growing up, man. Shout out to KRS-One. When we were growing up, man, and hip-hop first started, his music was actually educating the youth. I mean, what's my man? Free Mumia. Who else did he talk about in the songs? Rosa Parks. Whatever he's talking about, he was educational. You could not use curse words in your rap because it showed you really didn't put no thought into that bar or that curse. Or, you know what I mean? So you really wasn't that talented if you wasn't really saying anything that was, exciting or somewhat witty, intellectual, you know what I mean? But don't get me twisted. Now, with some hip-hop that I'm going to listen to and know that hip-hop is for turn up. I'm not judging that hip-hop, in the same fashion. Like, that's turn-up music. I take that. What's your rainbow head nigga?
6ix9ine.
Right.
Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Dude, like, if you mute dude and just, if you mute him, right? Fuck the in-between. Just mute him with his little image that he got, the tats, all that shit that, dude got a little look. Pause, no homo, but he got a little look that catches, you know what I mean? Right. And just play his music. Dude hit #1 at the Billboards like, 11, 12 times or some shit. Like, everything dude was dropping was fire. Now, I didn't like dude. I'm judging a book by a cover, just what I'm looking at. When I hear this dude music, I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting a little goddamn. Like, you know what I mean? And then my little stepdaughter, like, she love him. I can't say nothing bad about him. Excuse me. But his music is turn up music. So I know when I turn that on, that's what it's for. I'm not looking for anything too much from that.
Right.
But
you also need the balance. You also need in the culture. You also need the lyrics.
And I only say that because music is powerful, man. It is touching souls, bro. Yeah. And if you're really a person that really knows how to speak on a mic, you have to understand that you really have a talent. And you're really controlling someone, whether you got 1 million fans, 5, 1, 2, whatever, you treat them all the same. But what you're saying, somebody is really intently listening to and probably catching a vibe off of to go do whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Right. And I'm not saying anything. Like, I might be listening to something to turn up and go party. I might be listening to, like, whatever. I'm not keeping it around a negative circumference. But when you think of hip hop today, what's the image that pops in your head? You know what I mean? Does it say educational? Does it say this? You know what I mean? So
I think that's what separates the regular niggas from the upper echelon of talent and hip hop of today. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like if you the type of nigga that can mix in the fun shit and the turn up shit and still educate a young dude or whoever is listening. You feel me? Because today it's like more people that aren't black listening to hip hop to figure out what being black is or like what we going through. You feel me? Like that's a way of news. You get what I'm saying? So if you the type of nigga that can communicate that through your music and then still turn up, that's what makes you great. Like that's what makes you stand out. That's why people look at Kendrick like he's amazing and shit, but really it's like the nigga can make a song like Cut You Off to Grow Closer and then can make some shit like Humble.
Right.
You feel me? To where it's like, and even when he does make songs like Humble, like if you're really talented, you can sneak some cool shit in there, some clever shit in there, and like some people gonna catch it, but some people not because they only there for the turn up. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So that's the separation of talent, bro.
Absolutely. And not saying one is less talented than the other. It's just your fan base or whoever. Everybody's listening for a different reason. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I'm not saying. Bro, I got all kind of, like, I'm a hip-hop head. Like, you feel what I'm saying? I got all kind of shit in my collection. But, I'm just drawn to certain type of hip-hop more than others, only because when I was in high school, bro, and those are your developmental stages. You learn life, and you might think you tough or all this other shit. But I just understand when I was doing, hothead stuff, who I was listening to. And why I was listening to it, like let me listen to these dudes. That's all they talk about. Like you feel me? So once I kind of got to seeing myself getting, too influenced by, you know what I mean. I had to step away. Now it's not some people that's gonna step away like I did. Listen, fuck that fool. Let's hit the throttle, nigga. 6 years. Let's do this. Like, you feel what I'm saying? So. It's a powerful thing, man. So just make sure if you're an artist, man, just know you're speaking and breathing life into somebody, and you either real talk, you either doing the devil's work or God's work, bro.
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that. That go back to what Red Rum said last week. It's the accountability for what you saying to people, what you portraying. You know what I mean, and knowing that it's making an impact is making an impact on those who are impressionable, even those who are not impressionable. It's still making an impact into your subconscious, very least. So be accountable for what you're saying, what you're doing in front of people, especially on the mic. Your lyrics, shit, to even get biblical, words have power. And so like you said, you're either doing the devil's work or you're doing God's work. So, hold on. We'll be right back. Classic Conversations, Fresh, Cortez, Real English, Vic, and we'll be back for the third segment just shortly.